One of my favorite movies is called Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. I make a list of my favorite movies in alphabetical order, unranked, and I only have as many movies in that list at any given time as how many years old I am. So currently I have 31 movies in that list. Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia would be the one I feel the most compelled to defend the entry of if more people had seen it. I think it would be quite a controversial movie if more people had seen it. But I don't feel the need to defend it because nobody knows about it. All of Sam Peckinpah, the director, all of his movies are just full of controversy. And I think to this day, even though I love Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, I could see people questioning certain ethics and morals about it without going into the plot whatsoever, because I want everybody to see it blind, have no idea what it's about. That's the best way to experience it. But one thing that I will say is that it's the only thing close to an action movie with like a male action protagonist at its core. It's quite a weird choice on there, like all my choices tend to be kind of fringe. But you know, it's the only thing that has like somebody going around shooting people in the classic, he can fire a bazillion shots and each one of them will perfectly hit its mark, but everybody can fire at him and nothing will even scratch him by the end of the movie. Well, not quite, but yeah, it's just really interesting of a choice, and it made me realize I don't have a lot of action movies, even in my like routine watch list. The genre kind of just doesn't appeal to me as much as other genres, even if I can admire it's a good film. And partly because it is just so reeking with masculine energy. I've talked before about how I think one of my biggest challenges is that I have quite a bit of what you would call the feminine energy. Even if you want to call it the divine feminine energy, which I do. It's great. It's awesome. It's one of the cool things about me. It still makes life difficult in some ways. One of them is that I feel a little bit on the outside of very male-dominated interests and pieces of entertainment. What I love about Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, and I think what's great about Sam Peckinpah movies and quite misunderstood about it, is that they are actually the most excellent displays of male insecurity and its downfall. You can watch these movies, they're all about gruff men who are extremely violent and act out of impulse. And you could look at that and be like, wow, that's incredibly... You could even call it misogynistic, and I could see the argument that you're making. But I see it as, you do not want to be these guys, though. It paints these gruff male characters in the least romantic way possible. You watch even a great movie like Dirty Harry, or if it's not an action hero movie like The Godfather with Michael Corleone. And yeah, they're great because they do show these fully rounded, flawed characters, but in the end, don't a lot of people watching still kind of want to be those guys? Like, yes, they're rude and they're brash and they're violent, they act on impulse, but I mean, they still save the day, or they just win at the end of it. So don't we kind of watch it because we want to live vicariously through those characters? In Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, you do not even remotely want to be this guy. The movie kind of still has its cake and eats it too, with once it gets into the gunfire and stuff, it's still very entertaining and pulpy. I think it still kind of gets you on that level. But you do not want to be this big, brash, impulsive character at its core. He's fascinating, he's interesting, but he's not a person you really envy his situation whatsoever. And I think that's why it ends up being my only action movie entry on there. Once again, you could say that it's glamorizing, but I think you'd be totally misinterpreting it. I think it's the biggest display of insecurity, and unfortunately a very male-oriented display of insecurity, to kill somebody. I think that's the biggest sign of insecurity, is to kill someone. Another thing is, I was talking to my friend recently, and I said, Kurt Russell might actually be my favorite ongoing action movie star. And he was like, that's an interesting choice. And I said, yeah, to be honest, it might be because the first Kurt Russell movie I ever saw was Overboard. So maybe he just always gave me some sort of struggling single dad vibes instead of just flat out action star vibes. So even with my ongoing action stars, I still need there to be some kind of nurturing quality to him. Go ahead and save the day and everything, but also give me my bottle at the end of the day.